What's up, Lionesses and King Lions that are in the chat? This is the Lioness Lair. I'm the Queen of the Prowl, Valerie Bordeaux, and I've got a royal court tonight with Lady Lionor of Douchebagia, of course, my fellow cohort, and special surprise guest tonight. You know who you might know who she is. We haven't seen her in a while. Rachel Marie from Rachel Marie Sports. How you been, girl?
What's up, guys? I've been good, been very busy. I'm happy to hop on with you guys, even if it's just for a short time tonight. I have missed coming on with Val and, of course, our fellow DSA associates. So I'm excited to talk for a little bit here about the Lions game today.
So Rachel's got a really busy schedule. So we're gonna switch some things up tonight, and we're gonna go into the Lions game um, first, and then we'll go around the NFL and see what's been going around with the rest of the NFL. But first, I got $1 million question for y'all. Now, the whole NFC North, all four teams have the potential this week to go 1-1. If Chicago loses tonight, which you guys will see the live reactions because I have the game on right in front of me, uh, and Minnesota loses tomorrow as well. So, would you rather have the Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings potentially be at the top of the division with wins tonight and tomorrow, or do you want to see the both losses and have everybody be 1-1? So, guys, put your comments in the chat and put them, if you're watching it later, put it in the video. But, Rachel, what do you think?
Let me tell you right now, there is no way I'm okay with the Packers winning. So either way, there, I'm like, let's go Bears. you know, I know it's that NFC North thing, but I absolutely am overjoyed every time the Packers lose. So for me, it's everybody over the Packers. Um, I don't think I'd be disappointed if Minnesota loses to the Eagles, but I'm really just going to be watching that game to assess. Last week I didn't know, are the Packers this bad? Are the Vikings that good? And I think that's more so what I'm going to be looking out for in these
Yeah,
games.
that's what we're going to be seeing a lot. We're going to be comparing what Chicago's doing, what Green Bay's doing, and what Minnesota's doing. So, Lady Lionor, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Yeah, I've got the same answer. I always want to see Green Bay lose, especially because despite how they looked last week, I still think that they have a good shot at winning this division. And I think we'll sweep the Bears. So I'd love to see the Bears come out with a win against the Packers.
It's FTP all day here, guys. It's FTP all day. So, Rachel, why don't you break down and share with us what you saw today in the Lions versus Commanders, the first win of the season?
Well, I mean, what a loaded game. Truly, through the first half, I sat there asking myself, whose team is this? Truly, the first half, I was like, oh my gosh, there wasn't a lot that they were doing wrong. I mean, little softness from Jared Goff here and there, and obviously Swift on an injury, but you would have loved to just see him like take it to the house a few more times. First half, I'm going in feeling super confident. The second half, I have to admit, there was this nagging SOL part of me that said, "Oh my gosh, what is happening? What is happening?" But they did what they needed to do, even though I think defense changed it up a bit. And I saw some questions about that on Twitter. I do think it was because of a few people experiencing a couple injuries. Obviously, we saw Jeff Okuda was suffering some cramps. Aiden Hutchinson had something going on. But we saw them switch from a lot of man coverage in the first half to zone coverage in the second half. And Washington's first few drives, that didn't really work out for us very well. So I got scared. I'm thinking, what are they doing? This defense looks different. I don't know why they have adjusted their game plan. But I have to give credit to the offense a little bit there because although they stalled a few times in the first half and, of course, there's these questions about Goff. When offense had to answer because defense didn't, they did. And to me, this game was Lions, the games that they should win, they have to win. They should have won this game. They did. And I mean, at the end of the day, by the score, somewhat handily, I think there are adjustments they need to make, no doubt, but celebrate that win today, you guys. One Pride, be excited today. We'll talk about the adjustments they need to make, I'm sure throughout the rest of the week, but they did it. They should have won this game. They did.
Yeah, it was so funny because we had Commanders fans all week long on our channel trying to trash talk. And I'm like, wait a minute, since when do the Lions and Commanders have anything to trash talk about? And especially with each other. Hold up, wait a minute.
Right.
But yeah, it's been fun. So now they got to eat their crow today, and I made sure that happened. But
Go Val.
all right. But are you concerned about the possible injury with Hutch?
It looked minor to me. I mean, he got back out there, and maybe that's just a young kid saying, no, coach, I'm going to go play. I'm going to go play. But I do think this staff seems to be a little bit more sensitive to injuries. I don't think they would have let him go back out if they thought that it was a big deal or something he could further injure. Maybe we see them rest him at practice a few days this week, and then that wouldn't concern me. But at this time, I'm not.
Yeah, I kind of made the comment because when Hutchinson came back out of the locker room and he was kind of adjusting his pants, I said, well, he must have been back there to go for a potty break, a restroom break, pause. But no, I think he was checking in. And from the looks of things, people were talking that it might be just like a thigh bruise because he was just limping. So It doesn't really look like it was that big of a deal. But we'll see as the week progresses. Lady Lioness, what have you seen so far in this game that impressed you? Or didn't
Yeah, I mean,
impress you?
a lot of what you guys saw all week, I was in all the Commanders chats and on all their message boards, just seeing what they were saying. And they were really, really underestimating the Lions based on history. And I saw the same thing from the Lions fan base. We all thought we should absolutely walk away with this game. And that was based on history too. Based on how they played last week, they looked good against what I consider to be a bad Jacksonville team. Ignore the shutout that they had today, because that was against a bad team too. And we looked good against a really good Philadelphia team. I still thought we had the edge. I was getting really worried with all these injuries in the interior offensive line, our entire interior offensive line. Shout out to Hank Fraley for getting these guys ready, for really sort of living this whole Dan Campbell next man up mentality.
Yes.
They delivered big time today. I was really satisfied, like Rachel said. There was a time just before halftime and in that third quarter where it was starting to feel like a Lions game. The whole cardiac cats thing, we just can't hang on to a lead. But we pulled it out, and overall, they looked really good.
What do you guys think about that Dan Skipper move coming up off of practice squad and showing up as a guard?
Yeah, he's never played guard.
I think he shows you why he's often cut but sticks around. Truly. I mean, I'm actually very impressed at the depth on this Lions O-line. I mean, how much better could you ask for, truly, with your starters out? These secondary pieces to this O-line, they're legit. They're legit. And I don't want to jinx anything, but I don't know if there's another team in the league who can pull up from their practice squad and have a game like the Lions had today with these players. They pulled up from the practice squad.
And let's give a shout out to the defense. Washington only gained 2 first downs the entire game.
Yeah, that was insane. This defense was fired up. You love to see it. I mean, oh my goodness, Aiden Hutchinson, congratulations on 3 sacks this game. That's insane. I mean, what it says for what he could do this season. Rodrigo showed up on quite a few plays there. These rookies are coming in hot. But I mean, even these other leadership pieces, I don't know if I've said as many good things about Anzalone as I did today, but he read an amazing gap there in the red zone. Stopped a touchdown. Tracy Walker had some good plays. Jeff Okudah had another good game before. Obviously, he had some cramping issues, but
He needs some Midol, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. But I was like, whose defense is this? I mean, there was, they came out. The third quarter seems to be a weird time for the Lions sometimes. But that first half, that defense was like blowing my mind.
Okay, now what about Hawk and all of his drops that he's had lately? Are we to be concerned with this?
Oof. I am so mixed on that. And I feel like part of it's coming from a bias because I love Hawkinson. I do. I need to see a couple more games to figure out how I really feel about that. Those 2 drops were pretty big. He did have a very nice catch for a long completion later in the game, which and I believe it was on a critical down. I felt like that was a bit redeeming. So I'm going to give him a little bit more time before I jump all over him. Lions fans are pretty quick to, say, oh my gosh, now this person's a bust, that person's a bust. But as we've seen with quite a few players, even this year, that may not be the case. So let's be a little bit patient. Let's see how the next couple games go.
Lionor, do you have concerns about Hawk right now or no?
Yeah, same thing. He's a wait and see. Right now we're considering giving him this huge contract, and I'm actually in favor of paying the guy if he lives up to his potential, which he could be a top 5 tight end in the league. But we keep waiting for him to sort of reach his ceiling or blow past it, and I don't think he's come close. And he's had some bad drops the first 2 weeks. I do think that'll get better, but yeah, I'm a little iffy on him at the moment.
Yeah, they had what was it? 250 to 56 total yards, like right around the end of the second half or end of the first half. So it was crazy. I'm looking at some of the other notes that I kind of said. Walker almost intercepted a play at one point. We saw the
those DBs. I will say one thing: Aubrey Pleasant, Aaron Glenn, those DBs, they got to work on their hands because I've seen in these first 2 weeks a couple interceptions they should have had.
Yeah, and let's see what else happened to the wide receivers showed up today finally. It was nice to see, St. Brown actually catching some balls. DJ Shark still doo-doo dropping, I see. But the baby shark doo-doo drop. I mean, I got to get that one in. Come on, I got to get that one in.
That's a tough one because he had 2 drops that were really noticeable, and he was double covered in both of them. And I thought it was just really great coverage. I thought it was a good throw by Goff. I thought Shark was in the right place. But when you're double covered, that's a hard catch to make.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about somebody that that Lions fans like to trash. Will Harris.
Wow. I mean, definitely the most noticeable play that he made today. And I think already people on Twitter were trying to say, well, he got lucky. But, something that my dad always said is that there is no luck in football. He was in position to make that interception. It did get tipped, but he was there. He did his job. I mean, we don't want to give credit to him because, and I get it, but credit was due there. He was there to make that play. Overall, I think he had one bad mistake this game. Otherwise, I wasn't too angry with him, That's where I'm at. Other games, very different story.
Yeah, I don't know if the Will Harris almost interception was enough to redeem him quite yet.
No, I'm not. I won't redeem him entirely, but I did tweet, give credit where credit was due, you guys. He was there to make a play today, an important play. Because, Lions fans don't want to give it. And like I said, people were already like, well, he was just lucky. But I don't know if I believe that there's luck in football. So,
no, Will Harris being lucky. Now, if that was the case, we would have seen a little bit more out of the guy. The luck would have gone, a little bit more, but it didn't. So I wouldn't call that luck. I think he was just in the right place at the right time. It was just
right. He was there to make the play.
Mark Malik thinks you got a cute puppy, Nicole.
Thank you. This is
Aw.
Lexi.
It is a very cute puppy.
So, in the context of this game, I actually thought Will Harris had quite the redemption arc just because of when the interception happened. Because we were coming out of halftime and Will Harris gets burned by Jahan Dotson for 40 yards. And then, like, immediately after that, Curtis Samuel touchdown, Harris burned again. And then we go 3 and out, we punt. And on the Commies' very next drive, you have this pass. It's deflected by Tracy Walker right into the arms of Will Harris. He had to make the catch, and the catch wasn't going anywhere near him.
Right.
It was
He
near
dove.
Tracy Walker. Yeah, he saw it. He kept his eyes on it, and he dove for it and made it. I thought it was a good catch by him. It was right when we needed it. We had just been burned by a touchdown and, had to punt. I was pretty happy. Overall, I hope we still never see Will Harris play again. But as far as this game, you got to give the guy credit. I thought it was a great redemption arc for him today.
Yeah, we can almost credit him with the momentum shift back to the Lions.
So do you think if he continues to play like this that, he's going to be able to stay with us, or do we still dump him out the door?
He would have to continue to play like this plus.
Yeah, he got burned a lot today too. He's not great in man coverage.
No.
I would prefer not to have him out there if we don't have to.
So we also saw Deshaun Elliott sighting today a few times.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of his performance today?
He recovered the onside kick.
Oh.
That sealed it. Oh, we lost her.
We lost Rachel Marie. She could only be on us for us up for a little bit, so she probably had to go, guys. But we're gonna continue. Oh, there she goes again. Hold on, she's coming right back on.
Sorry, I dropped out there for a second.
You're all right. I was gonna say we've been having technical difficulties tonight, so we'll be all right. So the Deshaun Elliott thing. What have you thought of his performance today?
I mean, good to see him out there. Obviously, week 1, we didn't really get to see very much about what he brings to the table and whatnot. And I'm still looking to see a little bit more, but it's certainly promising because he was one of the guys that I looked at the roster and who they were keeping on it. And I felt like I just didn't know that much about. But today showed me a little bit what he is about and why they kept him around. So I'd like to see that continue going forward.
Yeah, he showed quite a bit of aggression. So if he can keep that up, that's going to be a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he was credited with 6 tackles on the day. I heard
Mhm.
his name a number of times. He was in there on special teams. Like I said, he recovered that onside kick, which basically ended the game. Without recovering that, there was no way they could come back. So, yeah, good day for him.
Were you nail biting it there at the end, thinking they might do a comeback, Washington?
Yeah, we're the Lions. That's what teams do to us. And if history's any indication, yes, that's what happens at the end of Lions games.
Because there were a few moments I was going, oh no, please don't lose to the Commanders. Please don't lose to the Commanders, please.
Yeah. Especially all the
absolutely.
smack they were talking all week. That would have really, really hurt.
Absolutely. And then, some people on Twitter were kind of getting into my head. Are you surprised? This, that, and the other. And I'm like, no, I'm holding to it. I said that we were going to win by 2 scores, and I'm still sticking to it.
Now, Anzalone, I think I saw him like once or twice today do some good. What are your thoughts on him?
And obviously my memory is not going back as far as last season in the sense that I'm very aware of every game, but I was pretty impressed with him today. He made a few great plays, and I saw those Thor dreads, and that's how I knew it was him immediately. And I was like, look at Anzalone. He was there to make the play. Obviously, they feel like he's a leader on this defense, and he kind of showed us today why.
Yeah, if he could only keep it up, because other than that, I'm not a big fan of Anzalone. I call him Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, so he can go back on that in front of the convenience store with Silent Bob and sell his drugs or whatever he wants to do. Because I'm good with that. But it is what it is. He did show up today and do some things. Okuda did some good things. He's supposed to be on a redeeming track here, hopefully, even though he's got the cramps and needs Midol. But, you know, he made a comment, I guess. It was
the fact that he came back after that, because I was afraid that he'd sort of hang it up for the day. Him coming, because we've all had cramps. We know what that feels like. If your leg or something cramps up really hard, you're still in pain for a few hours, and that's if you're not doing anything. So so the fact that he came back out and played through it and played well through it, I was really pleased to see that.
He said after the game that he was going to be meeting with the nutritionist this week and cooking up a plan to address these cramps. So hopefully we don't see them again. Yes, I'm fully aware it's game time. I'm seeing it in front of my screen, guys. Okay, you guys are going to get the live reactions when things happen. So I guarantee it.
So Val, did he make it sound like this is a chronic issue then? Like, was this a cramp in his? Is this a back thing? Or
he had cramps last game and he had cramps this game.
Okay.
So right now it is a recurring thing.
Hydrate, homie. I don't know.
Yeah, wasn't it Washington that taught us pickle juice? Drink pickle juice to not cramp up.
Yeah, get yourself some magnesium, bro. But eat some
bananas.
Get in touch. I was going to say get in touch with Will Levis and get your bananas in, buddy. But
just not with the peel. Don't eat them with the peel, please.
Oh, why not? And put some mayo in your coffee while you're at it. That might help. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he actually did that live on TV, but that was hilarious. I don't know if you got to see it. He went and talked with an interviewer, and it was before last week's Lions game, and they showed it on TV, and he offered the mayo coffee to the interviewer.
Oh no.
And had him drink it, and you could kind of tell that he was politely going, yeah, it's all right. Not wanting to be rude, but yeah, that does not sound appetizing. But he says he doesn't do it all the time, but we'll see. It is a Midwest thing to eat the peels, but I never did the banana peel now. That's just, ooh, Aaron Rodgers is on my screen. Get away.
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
is there a score? Is there a score?
Not yet. They haven't even started yet. They're coming up on the field. At the game, it's not the kickoff's not supposed to be till 8:30. So yeah, so that's the $1 million question, guys. Do the Bears win tonight? You want the Bears to win tonight, or do you want the Bears to lose tonight so that everybody goes 1-1?
Bears win. Let's go Bears. The Bears.
Come on.
For tonight.
Bears, because this is well, and this is what we're talking about with the NFC North, because this is very interesting. This week is very telling because now we have the Lions beat the Commanders, so they're 1-1, and we've got Green Bay coming off of a humiliating loss last week in their home, which usually when that happens, Aaron Rodgers comes out violent, and when he gets humiliated. And we've got the Bears coming off their win at their house in the middle of Lake Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
If you saw that field last week, put a stomping on the 49ers. So they're coming off a really great win. And Green Bay's coming up. This is going to be a battle, guys. And then we're also going to be able to see tomorrow night Minnesota take on the Eagles, to see how Minnesota fares up against the Eagles versus how the Lions fared up with the Eagles, and being able to compare those. So it'll be interesting to see how everybody is right now in the NFC North, because we'll have a really great comparison. I don't know. Do you think the same thing, Rachel? Or
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm here to see, how these four teams match up against each other tonight and tomorrow night. I mean, obviously, that's still not as telling as we want it to be, but it does give us room to compare. And, we can kind of get some insight from there.
Okay, Rachel, I know that you're busy and you got to get off. So we're so glad to have you on tonight, and hopefully we'll see you again as the season progresses. So we thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us tonight, and too bad it couldn't have been longer, but we appreciate the time we had with you.
Of
So-
course, it'll be longer. Like I said, a lot of things going on through September and October, but there's a lot of season. And in November, I should be very free on Sundays. So maybe I can spend the whole time with you guys. And I
Now,
will
are
try to
you-
make every start of every show that I can from here until then.
So how can people, before you go, how can people follow what you're doing?
So right now I haven't been doing much on my own YouTube channel. It's just kind of trying to find the time for that as well. However, I am very grateful to lovely ladies like you and a couple gentlemen that have hosted me on their podcast as well. I would definitely keep an eye on this podcast with these lovely ladies of the Lion Den, and I'll join as much as I can. I have been a little bit involved with Rally Sports. They are live on Wednesday nights at 8:30. They talk about everything, but they have asked me to provide a little bit of Lions influence every now and then. And then other than that, follow along with me on Twitter at Rach Marie Sports. Very avid tweeter, I guess you could say.
All right. So you guys make sure you go check her out. You have a wonderful night, Rachel, and go Lions, one pride, baby, right?
Yeah, one pride. Thank you so much, ladies. Have a great night.
All right. Okay, guys. So apparently the Green Bay Chicago game has the kickoff has happened. So let's see who has the ball. Is it Green Bay? Green Bay has the ball, I think. I just looked up, so forgive me. They've only had one play, y'all. Yeah, so look, yeah, Green Bay's got the ball, y'all. So Lady Lionor, while this game is in progress, why don't you fill us in, because I haven't been able to pay attention to any of the games today. So what's been going on in the league today?
All right, we'll start real quick with Thursday, just because it was a big AFC West matchup everyone was looking forward to. Chargers, Chiefs hang on 27-24. Big story out of that one was Justin Herbert was clearly playing injured. He was in a lot of pain. From what I heard today, x-rays came back negative, although he does have a rib cartilage fracture that will have him day to day. It's possible you'll see him out there next week. Apparently soft tissue type of thing. So the Patriots played the Steelers today. If you guys remember last week, the Steelers achieved an upset victory over the Bengals in overtime. Patriots came back and beat them 17-14. Really weak offensive performances from both teams. Both teams are every bit as bad as we thought they were. Panthers, Giants. After the Giants' miraculous victory right at the end of the game last week, they pulled it off again. 19-16 Giants. It was a defensive slugfest, 2 TDs and 7 field goals total for both teams. And for the first time since 2016, the Giants are starting 2-0. So good for them. The NFC South, Bucks and Saints. The Saints have had Tom Brady's number for a long time now, and he broke the streak today. The Bucks won it 20-0. At halftime, it was 3-3. Brady and Jameis both had only 1 touchdown apiece, and the Bucks had a pick 6. Overall, again, not a great offensive game. The Jets and Browns. This was the trash game of the week, and it's now my favorite game of the week. You had Jacoby Brissett versus Joe Flacco, 2 QBs, even their own fan bases don't even care about. The Browns were up 30-17 with less than 2 minutes to go. Flacco to Corey Davis for a 66-yard bomb. And then they recovered an onside kick. And the rookie, Garrett Wilson, I know we were talking about him during the draft, he got the game-winning touchdown for the Jets. So they won it today, 31-30. Wow. Dolphins, Ravens. This was a weird one. The Dolphins have been a really interesting team. We didn't really know what they were going to look like. And I think most people had the Ravens winning this one. Dolphins took it near the end, 42-38. They scored 28 unanswered points in the fourth quarter for the comeback. Tua, oh man, he had a couple interceptions, but he had 469 yards for 6 tutties today. It was really impressive. Both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle had 2 touchdowns apiece. So impressive. The Colts and the Jags. The AFC South is my new favorite division. It is just the absolute dumpster fire trash division. Coming out of last week, that entire division had exactly 0 wins. And two of the teams played each other. That's almost impossible to do. But they had a tie last week within the division, and the Jacksonville Jaguars shut out the Indianapolis Colts 24-0 today. We played them in the preseason, and you really can't tell in preseason what a team's going to look like. But we kind of thought they were a good team. Most people had them as their pick to win the division. Whew, if I'm a Colts fan, I'm panicking right now. They don't look good at all. Now, to be fair, Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce were both out of the game. They're two best receivers. Nobody else could get any separation. Poor Matt Ryan was sacked 5 times. He threw 3 interceptions. That O-line did not help him out at all. He was running for his life all day. So that was kind of a rough one for the Colts.
Speaking of running for their life all day, it looks like Aaron Rodgers got sacked once already and almost got it again. And they had to call the penalty. It looked like maybe delay a game or intentional grounding. I can't tell because I have no sound on. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers already got his butt on the ground. I think it was Brisker that did it. So
that makes me so happy because Elgton Jenkins, I thought, was back. I looked it up about a half hour before the game. Bakhtiari's still out, but I think they have their starting right tackle back. So I thought maybe Aaron Rodgers would have more time. Apparently, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's 3rd and 10 with Rodgers having the ball and running for his life.
Oh, I wish I was watching this.
Oh, and no good catch. Yes.
4th down.
Yeah, they're going to be. Wait, they're saying it's a 1st and 10. No way did he get a 1st and 10 on that. You got to be kidding me. He did not make that. He did not catch that ball. Oh, yeah, I guess he did. For a brief second, and yeah, he caught it. Damn it. It's a 1st and 10. Aye.
Aw.
Oh, now we got more flags on the field, y'all. What in the world? Green Bay doing some mess out here. False start. Green Bay, false start.
Wow.
That's their second penalty in like this drive, guys. So, okay. So while we're playing with this, so we went through the whole NFL.
I'm not done yet, actually.
Oh, you're not done yet? Keep going.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, no, not even. We're half done.
Okay,
There are
keep going.
32 teams play. There are a lot of games.
All right.
So talking about the Packers and teams that are underachieving this year, Rams Falcons. If I'm a Rams fan, I might start panicking a little bit. They won it 31-27, but it was really, really ugly. Rams were up 21-3 at halftime. Atlanta surged back. They blocked a punt, ran it back for a touchdown. Yeah, it wasn't a great game, but the Rams win it. Cardinals Raiders. I just checked the score on that one because it went to overtime. It was 23-23 at the end of the game. They finished up 29-23 Cardinals. Raiders lose it. Only 2 receptions for Devontae Adams in regular time. I don't know if he had anything in overtime. Texans, Broncos. Oh, man. The Hackett-Russell Wilson era in Denver is off to a really, really rocky start. It was 16-9. Broncos win it, but it was against the Texans. So you kind of expect them to do a little better than that. Upset of the week is this one right here. Bengals, Cowgirls. Dak Prescott's out. He had this thumb surgery. We know he's going to miss at least probably the first half of the season. The Cooper Rush led Cowgirls beat the Bengals 20-17. Now I know they addressed their O-line. Everyone thought it was going to get better for Joe Burrow, but they had 6 or 7 sacks last week, and they had another 6 or 7 sacks on him tonight. So I don't know what's going on over in Cincinnati. I'm going to have to go back and watch that game, but yeah, not a great day for Burrow and that O-line again. NFC, let's see. NFC South matchup. We talked about that one. Oh, Seahawks and 49ers. 27-7 for the 49ers. Seahawks never even got an offensive touchdown. It was a defensive touchdown. I think it was a blocked kick, run back. And that sounds about right. The Niners are better than they looked playing in the slip and slide in Chicago last week. So yeah, now we have the Bears-Packers game, which we've already talked about, and we're getting updates for. And then 2 big Monday night games, Titans-Bills and Vikings-Eagles. 2 what should be high-scoring games, good offenses.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Vikings do because that's what we're watching right now because they usually come out strong, then they fall apart. So we'll see what they do against the Eagles to see how good they really are. And It is a Green Bay is on the board, y'all. with a field goal.
You held him to a field goal. It's not bad.
Mm.
Could have been worse.
Yeah, he was sacked on the third down, and then they settled for a field goal. So, okay.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
Minnesota game, the timing of it's really interesting. We just played the Eagles, so we know how we look against them. And now we get to see Minnesota play them to see how they stack up against them.
Yeah.
It's still early in the season, so still we
Yeah,
don't want a
but
lot of
you
overreaction. But
yeah,
I want
but
the
you kind of
comparison.
yeah, because can they be close? Do they beat? Do they, how does their offense and defense match up against the Eagles? Because we know what the Lions did with them. So that does still create quite a measure to see what the Lions will do up against the Vikings when they have to confront each other. Now, next week, isn't it the Seahawks that the Lions are going against?
I think we play the Vikings in Minnesota next week. But I'll double check.
Is it the Vikings, guys? Is it the Vikings or the Seahawks? Because I know I'm probably losing it because I did see a Seahawks Lions post today, so I don't know if it was for next week
it's
or
the
week
Vikings.
after.
We play the Vikings.
Okay, it is,
and then
Vikings?
the Seahawks, then the Patriots. But yeah, I mean
Okay.
exactly what you said. The comparison, because if the Eagles blow out the Vikings, all of a sudden I'm going into next week with a lot more optimism. Yeah.
Yeah. So
could go the other way too, of course. But.
Right, but you really want to see what they do against that, because it will be the measuring stick going in, going, okay, if our offense didn't do that well and theirs did, are we going to have problems with that? Or if their defense, does better than ours, and they win, what does that say? There's going to be a lot to that, to judge what the Lions are going to be able to do. Now, it looks like the Lions today improved quite a bit. That defense showed up. The wide receivers showed up. It seemed more gelled. Goff still has some issues because I saw him do a lot of overthrowing and underthrowing again today. So he's got to get that under control.
He definitely had some overthrows, but overall, he had a really good day. He went 20 for 34, 256 yards, 4 tutties. He had a QBR of 121.7, I think. It was a good day for Goff with a bad stretch in the middle.
Yeah, but it wasn't that kind of like an SOL Lions third quarter, to be honest.
Yes,
it was like,
yes, it was.
Because you come out strong and they go to take a nap. And I was even saying, don't fall asleep, guys, on this. You can't do this. You can't settle in this third, quarter like you always want to do.
Yeah, there was, it's such a game of momentum. And they really did have all the momentum coming out of the half. And I mean, Rachel Marie had it right. The interception by Will Harris, that turnover, even though we then punted on the next drive, the crowd had been quiet for a while because the team had been quiet. And all of a sudden, momentum is shifting back to the Lions and the crowd's getting into it. And it changes the energy in the stadium. So, but yeah, there was like the second half of the second quarter and then the third quarter. Trying to think when in the third quarter we finally did something.
Let me look, because I know I did.
It was right at the end.
A lot of notes today.
It was toward the end because we got the interception, then we punted, and then on the next commie drive, all 3 receivers burned us for big gains, and they finished that drive off with a Logan Thomas touchdown, and Jahan Dotson got the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, I was going to say the last play of the third was when Gibson went for the 2 and they failed. So, yeah.
Well, so Dotson went for the 2 and got it, and then we got the ball back. That was that 58-yard Amon-Ra.
No, game. They did not get the 2. They did not get the 2
the
on
first
that
time
one.
They did. They went for 2
first
twice.
Time they did, but on this particular one that I'm talking about, they did not.
That was, you're right. The one you're talking about ended the drive. Or I'm sorry, ended the quarter. That was how the quarter ended. But before that happened, Amon-Ra had the 58-yard gain. Then, of course, Stenberg let Payne through for a sack on Goff. But pitch to Swift, he fell. Remember, he slipped down and it got back up and ran it in for a touchdown. So, yeah.
Yeah, there were penalties too today with Sewell right off the bat getting a false start. There was
that was about Washington. It.
Washington had a delay of game. I think there was somebody else.
Well, we had the running into the kicker
Oh,
on
Pittman running into the kicker, which was
Yeah.
ugh.
And we had an illegal formation, but it was a
Yeah.
really clean game. I mean, other than the 5-yard penalty on Sewell, and I think that was in the first drive, they played a really clean game other than that.
Yeah. So according to my notes, this is the third straight game with over 35 points since 1952 or 53.
Yeah, back when we could win championships.
Yeah.
We have also now scored a touchdown in 15 straight quarters, which is the longest streak in the league right now. So even in our bad quarters, we are still scoring touchdowns.
So things are looking up. It's still 3-0 Green Bay, y'all. Chicago is on the 2nd and 10 at the moment as they go to commercial. And I know I'm a little bit delayed. Y'all probably know a little bit more than me, but I got YouTube TV, so don't blame me, okay? Poor Kurt today lost in it, though. The Sunday ticket thing decided to go crash down.
I had that. So I lost the game for a good chunk. Thank you to Micro Mike if he sees this, because without him, I would not have known what was going on.
Yeah, that was not good. So we've pretty much covered all of the NFL. We're kind of keeping an eye on this game. So why don't we bring up that discussion we were going to have last week?
All right. Hold on a sec.
She's got to get a drink for this one, y'all, because I can't wait to see all of your comments while she's getting a drink. Maniac Sports, I just want to beat the best, so hopefully the Lions just got to show up, ball out, and kick the Vikings off the field. Huge cred to our patchwork O-line from PC Payload. How many back O-lines can put up 36 points? Brown ties the Lions record for scoring a TD in 6 consecutive games. Here's Johnny. An injured Lions team looked like a real NFL team today. Next step is a 37-point game. So, yeah, Maniac Tim and I were going crazy. We were saying that it was going to be like 52-7 today, but we tried.
The Lions game?
Yeah.
In favor of the Lions?
Lions? Yeah.
Aww.
We went all
I
Maniac.
want what you're drinking.
Yeah, we went all have some rum chata, y'all. That's what that'll do. Anyhow, so the discussion question for the Lioness Lair tonight: could a woman be an NFL coach?
Well, we need to be more specific. You talking about a head coach or a coordinator or a positions coach? Because I have different answers there.
Okay, well let's start. Okay, so let's start
at the top.
We'll start at the top. Head coach.
Okay, I'm going to take the con. If you're taking the pro, you go first.
I'm taking the pro as a possibility. Now, granted, they would have to make some adjustments because, of course, you can't have a woman in the locker room with everybody putting the icy hot on these nuts and all of that kind of thing going on back there. So, you might have to put some medical curtains up so, they can ice some things in the background while they're listening. But I do believe that the right female who is used to the male culture and how they talk, they could easily be a great NFL head coach. Now, you're going to tell me why that can't be.
I think a woman could be a great NFL head coach. I just don't think she should be. And part of the reason is, like you said, they would have to make adjustments. Things are done very similarly, especially stuff in the locker room from high school all the way up to the pros. If you're having to make adjustments for just logistically for your head coach, then they're a distraction. And your head coach should never be a distraction to your team. If they have to give the pregame or the halftime or the post-game speech, what are they going to do? Do it outside in the tunnel? I'm not sure how that works. And even if the woman doesn't mind, even if the coach doesn't mind seeing a bunch of guys walking around doing helicopters and celebration, some of the guys might mind that. And these guys who are drafted out of college, they have no control over where they go. Maybe, you know, an Aaron Rodgers type guy, if he doesn't want to be in a locker room with a female head coach, he can go to a different team. But a lot of these guys don't have that option. So you're putting them in a very uncomfortable, potentially, situation. And there's also it's inherent risk. And it does not matter, because I know, Val, if you're sitting in a men's locker room and he whips his thing out and accidentally hits you in the face with it, you're not going to care. You're going to laugh and probably hit him in the nuts and laugh at that too. And that's fine. But the NFL is extremely risk averse. Some women wouldn't react like that. And now you're going to have sexual harassment lawsuits. You're going to have stuff like that. And you can put a clause in there that protects the players and says, okay, if you're going to have a female in this industry, she can't claim that. But now she has no protection if sexual harassment or sexual assault actually do take place. So you're talking about a high risk scenario in a risk averse league. I don't see how you work it out logistically. Because
they can still make those adjustments. And by the way, Bears they got their touchdown with Fields running it in. So yeah, that happened a little bit ago. I know I'm on a delay. I just saw it and the chat was letting me know. So thank you guys for letting me know that excitement that was coming forward. But here's the thing with that whole deal with, you know, the whole sexual harassment thing. You can still have protection for that female head coach in the locker room with another person, similar to what they do still in the medical field when they have two people in the room. You know, if it's a female patient and a male doctor, whatever, they have a female nurse, you can have an extra person there to prevent those issues from happening.
I feel like medical necessity is a different context. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but you're in a situation in the medical field where one person is the patient and they are, you know, on IVs, trapped in a bed. The doctor and the nurses in the medical context have all the power. It's the person on the bed who doesn't. When you're talking about a woman voluntarily going into a male locker room, you're talking about equals. I don't know how you protect both sides' interests, because we know people make things up going both directions too. So if you're going to protect the players against, you know, sort of a woman taking things the wrong way, or, you know, getting offended by something that where no offense was intended, I don't understand how you also protect her from anything legitimate that could happen.
You have a third party unbiased person in the room.
Well, you would always have other coaches in the room.
Well, because sometimes the coaches can stick up for the players. I'm saying that you could have a unbiased third party person that goes in those situations, and therefore they have no loyalty to either side.
More distracting adjustments, huh? Are the teams going to have to pay for this? Is it included in their cap? Do the owners pay for it? Does the NFL provide it? How does that work?
I don't think the NFL could provide that. They provide plenty of other things. They make enough money. Goodness gracious. You think that they can't afford one person?
I think they can. Do I think they will? I don't know. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this, I feel like, doesn't always apply, though. I feel like it does to coordinators. Do you have anything to add where a woman would be better suited to being a coordinator than a head coach? So maybe that'd be another role, because I don't like the idea of coordinators either because of the whole locker room aspect.
Well, Kurt, our boy Kurt Steele here has a good argument for that, and it says that Chrissy from Lions Nation Unite worked for the Lions and was in the Lions locker room all the time and did not have any issues.
When? Was she there pregame, postgame, halftime, or was she in there at set times that the guys knew she was going in there so they could prepare for that?
Yeah, Kurt, let us know that
because there's context to that.
Yeah.
I've been in a men's locker room too, but I wasn't in there at halftime when guys are taking their pads off trying to ice sensitive areas so they can get back out there in 15 minutes.
Now, Michael Hook says that he thinks that KC and Washington have a women position coach, so why couldn't they be a head coach?
Yeah, I'm okay with the position coach. That one makes a little more sense to me, because Position coaches, there's always an assistant. So when I was first thinking about it, I was thinking as a position coach, you would want to be out there holding pads, letting guys do drills into you, and a girl's going to probably get knocked on her ass. I mean, even a taller girl, you're talking about guys, most of them well over 6 foot, 200 to 300 pounds. It would be hard for them to actually hit you at full force. But if you're the assistant, then the position coach does that. If you have a great strategic mind and they want you in that position coach spot, then you have an assistant that can do those drills. So I actually think as a position coach, it could work. You also don't have to be in the locker room because there's 2 of you. Someone else can be in there.
Well, wouldn't a head coach be able to have an assistant too, just like the position coach?
Yeah, but the head coach has to be in there giving speeches and doing stuff at certain times before, middle, and after the game. You can't get.
That's why I say they can still prepare the guys with the guys that have got to be, for whatever reason, indecent proposal thing going on. They have those curtains that they can go behind, benches with curtains that cover that area. They can still hear, they can still know what's going on, but they don't necessarily have to be seen by either person, by the head coach or, and their privacy is protected as well.
Yeah. And again, that is certainly a way they could adjust for that. I feel like that is an adjustment. That's a distraction, especially if you're a little bit injured. If you're in a Kuda situation, let's say that had happened at halftime and he was hoping to get back out there. Now you've got the coach talking about what adjustments you're going to make going into the second half, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And you can't see them. So much is communicated through body language. And with the team, all these guys together, they're like in their own little family groups. You've seen scenes from the locker room after games. Mm-hmm. I mean, the way they're jumping around and hugging each other and smacking each other. I really wish anyone in the chat who played or who coached, I would love to hear some stories about what actually goes on in a football locker room, because maybe it wouldn't be inappropriate at all. Maybe I'm completely overthinking it. I have this idea in my head about things that probably happen in a man's locker room, especially in the middle of a game. And I don't think it's the right environment.
Well, I don't know if okay, so Chrissy was pregame and postgame, but even so there's a little bit of preparation there versus in the middle of the game. But like Chicago it wasn't last year, but the year before, where they opened up the locker room for Club Dub immediately after the game. I mean, fans could immediately enter the locker room for a party. So the guys weren't indecent then.
Yeah, and I know a lot of female reporters go into the locker room post-game to do interviews too. And I don't know how that works. I don't know the logistics of that. Do they give them a certain amount of time, or do they have to be, like you were saying, in a certain area? Because I do think that probably works at least post-game, where you don't need everyone together. You're not strategizing or coordinating or talking about what's going on in the game at the moment. Mm-hmm. That certainly makes sense. But, I feel like there are actually a lot of positions for women. I mean, either of the offensive or defensive quality control positions, position coaches, anywhere in the front office, really, scouting departments. We already have lots of women in the training room. I know there was a woman that I think she was offensive quality control for the Bills a couple years ago. So there are women who have done this. And listen, if there's a pipeline, and I don't think this pipeline exists yet, but if we had a pipeline that started in Pee Wee and went through high school and college and into the pros, of sort of acclimating both the players and the women to this environment over the course of, you're actually talking a generation. Most of these head coaches are somewhere between 40 and 50. Very rarely. We have some of these young guns in their 30s. But, it takes a while to sort of work your way up to that. I definitely think there are some women to do it. I'm not sure we have the pipeline in place at the moment. So this very moment, if some team announced tomorrow they had a female head coach, it would make me wonder if they were doing it for the right reasons. Whereas, 20 years from now, I have no idea what the world's going to look like in 20 years, but I'm certainly not going to say that there's no place in football for a female head coach.
It depends on who they do. If she was actually qualified to do the job, I don't think that there should be any question whatsoever. Now, who's to say if they're going to have to make those kind of adjustments? I don't know what goes on in the locker room. We don't know. We're women. We don't know what happens. We know what happens in our locker rooms, but we don't know what y'all. I would not want to be in a man's locker room. Y'all are something else, okay?
Oh, the smell alone. Oh my goodness.
I mean, after Dan Campbell talked about, I haven't taken a shower in 2 days. No, y'all. I don't know if I want to do that mess. Okay.
Yeah. I do think just at this exact moment, there is some risk, and there's going to be some aversion to that risk on the side of teams and probably the league in general. So at this exact moment, I don't think it's the best fit logistically, but that could change.
Oh, you just you just sexist. No, okay.
Yeah. Some people are going to think that. I know.
That's okay.
That's okay.
You guys who share your thoughts down in the comment section below the video. We want to hear what you guys have to say.
We really want to hear locker room stories.
Yes. Too. Yes. Well, maybe I should preface this one. Okay. Try not to make it too R-rated when you share your locker room stories. Okay.
I disagree. The more R-rated, the better. I want to hear about all the helicopters that
sometimes we have fans 18 and under that see our chat. So it's one thing.
Fair enough.
I mean, that's kind of why we get away with a little bit of stuff, but yeah, let's not go into the real dirty details of what y'all do back there, okay? But some fun stories would be fun. So yeah, go ahead and share those in the comment section below the video. So we've got Aaron Rodgers running for his life tonight. I'm gonna
can you give me an update? What's the score of that game?
It's still 7-3.
Okay.
So Bears up by 7. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers looks like he has been running for his life all game. So
okay,
let's hope that's
so. Can I just make a real quick controversial point before we shut things down?
Sure.
I feel like we sort of live in this environment where all male spaces are considered inherently misogynistic, and I really don't think that's the case at all. Women certainly have a lot of their own spaces. So I saw someone in the chat say, hey, if we're a man, do we get an opinion on this? Yes, I understand why you may not want to give it, because we do sort of live in an environment where if you have the wrong opinion, especially on issues like this, it could come back to bite you. So I understand the hesitancy. But yeah, that's it. I think it's okay for men to have their own spaces. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Absolutely. I'm on that page of agreement that I think it's okay for men to have their own spaces. It's okay for women to have their own spaces. We wanted to make it because of the fact that football is technically like very male dominated, even with the fan base, even that the women have been underrepresented. So we wanted to be able to create this platform so that they could have more of a voice, because sometimes maybe they may not be comfortable on their end of the bargain, going up against trying to share their football opinion, maybe if they don't know as much, and, having males interact with them in a maybe condescending way sometimes, or a disrespectful way sometimes, as far as sexist attitudes and things like that. So we are trying to create that space where it is okay for you guys here to share your opinions. We've always been open. This is a very much of a community platform. We just simply ask that you be respectful to one another when you're making those comments. That's it. But we are more than welcome to the guys, our kings in the Lions Den, to come hang out with us on our all girls chat party. There will be more girls coming, but please just don't treat this as a singles night, guys. But you are more than welcome here. So don't feel free that you can share your opinion, and women can too. So it is that kind of thing. Men are kind of attacked for saying things that they normally say. We don't like that. We're not for that. You know, you guys can share what you want to share, but yeah, we've got to have a little bit of caveats because of this being a community. We don't want children to know things that they shouldn't know, or those kind of, and women to feel uncomfortable in your presence, or you guys feeling uncomfortable in ours. So that's why we have those rules. But we are now going to end this tonight, and thank you guys for showing up for us with the Lioness Lair week 2. We're now on to what, the Vikings at home or away?
Away in Minnesota.
Oh, Vikings in Minnesota. So woo, we gonna be here next week to breaking that down. So come join us then. Until then, good night, one pride. We'll catch you on the flip side.
See y'all next week.